Use your mouse as a pointer.
So today I'm going to be talking about canine gastric dilatation volvulus. That's also known as bloat. So what is bloat? So there's actually two different descriptions. So the gastric dilatation is just when the stomach fills with gas, and that doesn't include when it flips. And then you also have the gastric dilatation volvulus, which is when the gas in the stomach begins to flip the stomach itself, and that is what is actually called bloat. And I like this picture here because it shows exactly where in the dog the stomach is going to be located, and it does a great job of showing how that stomach is going to be filling with gas. You can see how enlarged it is here compared to this picture here. And then by it doing that, it's going to start flipping in on itself. And this redness here is kind of depicting how it's going to be pushing on other vital organs, and the blood flow isn't going to be able to go throughout the stomach here, which is causing, it can cause the stomach to die, which is where a lot of animals become very, very sick from this. So either one can cause, it can be life-threatening, so if either one of these are occurring, you definitely want to get your dog in as soon as possible. So some risks and symptoms. Usually this is going to be occurring in your large breed dogs with deep, narrow chests. So this is actually my dog here. She's a Great Dane. She's kind of smaller for a Dane, but I just wanted to show the deep chest here. So you can see from the top of the back all the way down to the chest here how deep that is right there. So she is probably one to look out for to make sure she doesn't get bloat, just because she is very susceptible to getting it with this really deep chest. And then Irish Setters in the St. Bernards here and the Danes, they're kind of some of the top dog breeds that are going to maybe be prone to getting bloat. It can also be hereditary, so if a breeder breeds two dogs and one of them gets bloat, it is likely that one of their puppies could also get bloat as well. So if one of the dogs gets bloat, you make sure you don't want to breed them, because that litter could also be likely to get bloat as well. So I actually had a personal experience with this, and just some of the symptoms are included the distension of the abdomen. So kind of going back to this picture here, the distension is going to be from the stomach being filled with gas. It's going to kind of push out the sides of the dog, and it kind of be hard to the touch. So that's what I mean by distension of the abdomen area. Weakness or difficulty breathing, depression, and then trying to vomit, but nothing is actually coming up. So my dog, she actually experienced this. She was very depressed. She actually kind of ran away from us and was extremely sick. She couldn't get herself into the car. We had to pick her up. And it was a very short time between, actually everything happened very fast. So we had to take her immediately to emergency clinic, and she thankfully was able to go through the surgery and came out past the surgery, but she didn't live past 3 days. So even though
So you lost her?
Yeah.
So how long was it from when you saw her acting, the behavior again is the first thing that changes, from that moment till you got her to the vet clinic?
We actually didn't know exactly what was happening
So
at
it
the
took a
time,
while?
but it was a couple hours before we got her to the vet, which was obviously
Yeah,
not
well,
as good,
that's
but,
hindsight, we all can say what we should do, yeah.
So it was actually a couple hours before we actually got her to the vet, and then the surgery happened. So it'd been a while, but she made it through the night after the surgery, but after a couple of days she didn't make it past that, which the vet said that could have been from just the tissue starting to die. There wasn't enough blood flow in the stomach in itself, so it was starting to die, so therefore she wasn't going to live through that. So a couple things I wanted to hit on. So some people have heard different preventions that they think might help, and I kind of wanted to clarify some of those. So originally it was known that the food bowls on the ground can cause bloat, and that higher bowls would actually help to prevent bloat. However, some new studies have showed that elevated bowls actually provide just as a risk as if the bowls were on the ground. And I saw that one study had shown that 52% of the cases of bloat within large breed dogs were attributed to having raised bowls. So therefore it's having a raised bowl versus one on the ground doesn't seem to really help either way. And then many times the dietary ingredients are the factor to blame. So many times people will say, oh, it's this type of food or causes this, except it can't be directly, a lot of studies have said that it can't be directly pointed to a specific area of food or a specific ingredient. because the data isn't inclusive and it can't be fully supported, so it's not always consistent within the data that they
Are
find.
you going to say my friend's name?
Yes.
Are you, okay.
Next slide.
Okay, good.
So on some of the studies that I have seen, more recent studies that have been proven for prevention of bloat, these were from Purdue University's Dr. Larry Glickman. He's had several different reports out there and experiments done with dogs with bloat. And he says that eating more rapidly and eating one meal versus 2 or 3 meals a day or fearful temperament can actually increase the risk of bloat. So eating more rapidly actually has a 5 times more likeliness for that dog to get bloat. And to help this, to slow down a dog's eating, you could use a maze bowl, which is what is depicted here to kind of split up the food, which I'm sure you guys have seen one of these before. Kind of going off the fearful temperament, so dogs that have high anxiety or stress when they're eating, it's usually occurring when they have another dog within the house that they're eating with. Sometimes that causes stress or anxiety that they have to finish their food really fast. You can help this by separating the dogs during feeding time. And then also another study that has been proven to help would be performing the prevention surgical gastropexy, which is when you tack the stomach to the right side of the body wall to prevent the twisting. And this can usually be done during when a dog is getting fixed, so it's kind of doing a 2-in-1 procedure. But these studies here have definitely been proven, and it's also kind of cool because it's from one of our doctors here at Purdue University, and that have been significantly important to look at.
And he's been retired about 5 years, but I still have his email, so anytime I have a question, he's my go-to person, because it's interesting. He did a lot of studies, but you can't do a lot of experiments on bloat. First of all, there's no funding. No, Purina or any other company won't give me money to do research on bloat, okay? So it's very intriguing, but yeah, perfect.
And then, so just in conclusion here, the research, like Dr. Aldrich was saying, on canine bloat can be difficult to study consistently because, like you said, you can't just get a bunch of dogs and have them have bloat, and that's just kind of contradicting there. So that can have conflicting results over the years if you can't constantly be looking at this. And then you can create a safe and relaxing environment now to help your dog during feeding time. And like I said, if you have more than one dog, maybe separating them just so one doesn't feel anxious that they have to finish their food right away. And then it is also difficult to pinpoint specific dietary ingredients because most of the large dogs eat some type of kibble, like both of my Great Danes eat a type of kibble, yet it's not 100% that they're going to get bloat. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint which exact food is going to cause bloat because it doesn't occur in all dogs. And then if you know your breed of dog that has had parents who had bloat or is prone to getting it, it is a good consideration to get the gastropexy surgery as a good prevention to kind of make sure that the stomach will not flip. And use my sources.
Let's do a soft round of applause. And before I forget, I got to add, I had some friends. I wasn't there at the time. My wife and son were. A neighbor's mastiff came over to this pool party they were having, and it was friends. But this mastiff came over to somebody else's house, and they got into the bowl of kibble, and they didn't realize it, either the bag of dog food or something. This is all after the fact they found this out, right? So at the time, they didn't realize the dog ate a large amount of kibble. It came out to where people were at the pool party and the tables, and it was acting strange. And I've met the dog before. She had a nervous temperament, and that's one of the things. Anyway, this is a story that they told me. They knew it was uncomfortable, but they didn't know what was going on, and it laid under a table and died right where they were having a pool party. Just that's how fast it can go. That's why I asked you about the timing, because if you ever have a dog with bloat, time is critical. So you grab the dog and you start driving and have somebody else call the vet and tell them you have a bloat coming, because then maybe they can delay a surgery or get ready for you. So you don't just come into the vet clinic and go, I got a bloat. No, have somebody call and they'll get ready for you because they're probably going to have to do the surgery. Yeah. So it was a big mastiff. She was always nervous. It's the kind of dog you meet and then you can get friendly with it, but then the next time you meet it, you have to do it all over again. You know that kind of dog. And I can't remember her name, but she was a beautiful Mastiff, just maybe a couple years old. How old was your Great Dane?
9.
9? Okay, so that's good. So the older the dog, doesn't it make sense, more prone? The older you get, the ligaments that are holding your stomach in place get stretched, aren't quite as strong, aren't quite as elastic. Good job. And Larry Glickman, yes, he's retired, and